And we're live.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay. I mean, the energy is a bit crazy, but I think you're about to tell us what that's all about.
Exasperating is my adjective for the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like before we get into it, I do want to clear space and energy before we get into this session. So, Um, if anyone has like headphones, please lower it down. I'm just like, that was bad. Hold on. Yeah,
Why not?
so we are on the Gemini new moon, right?
Yes, it's not until Sunday. Um, let's see. Let's see. Where am I? We should be on December 13th. The full moon in Gemini is on Sunday the 15th. And on the West Coast, it is 1:02 a.m. And on the East Coast, it's 4:02 a.m. And a few hours after that, in the afternoon, Mercury stations direct. So we've got the full moon in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's been retrograde going direct. So that's a little bit of a uh, that's that's kind of a jacked up energy. So Gemini is very, very chatty, right? Um, it's a lot of information circulating, and you have to use your discernment as to what to believe or not believe. So that's what Mercury does: is it delivers information. The winged Mercury. He was the only deity that could travel to the underworld without having to pay a toll or go through a test. He was androgynous. So,
Mm.
um, so busy bee, busy, 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 buzz, 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 buzz. That's how I feel. I feel like today, we're moving into the fullness of the new moon in the next 48 hours. So we're on the we're not into the peak of it yet, but it just feels exasperating, almost like you could just pedal your bike really hard and like a stationary bike, you're pedaling really hard and you're not getting anywhere.
Uh,
Um, yeah.
so, like today, I actually opted to change my phone.
Hmm.
Uh, I should have waited like a few more days, right? But I've been needing to replace my phone for some time. So, but like the place where I had to go because I had to replace my phone and also like fix my son's phone. Um, it was like kind of way out. It was like maybe a 20-minute drive. And I'm like, I feel like I'm being like like there's a place down the street that's the same company. Why couldn't I go to that location? Why did I have to go? And the guy was like, "Well, it's because we have the parts to fix this particular phone." I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense." But like, I just feel like it was like a lot of time,
Yeah.
and like I just didn't really see like you know what's the word? I just really didn't see why, you know, but that's what happened. So I was like running around town, like getting stuff done, and like a lot of time has passed, and I'm like, oh wow, it's showtime already. Like,
Right. Right.
so
I'm
yeah,
the same way. Like, just
just
been very busy, one task after another, and uh, I texted you to say I was running late, that I'm on
Mhm.
my way, but running late. So, that combination of a full moon in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury stationing direct, is powerful. That's very that intensifies a full moon. Full moons already, you know, make the tides stronger, and more babies are born and more murders are committed. I mean, people get more amplified during a full moon, and with Mercury stationing within a few hours afterwards, that just feels like, a lot of information could be exposed, um, a lot of light coming to something. The full moon is illumination.
Mhm.
Um, it's a really good time to regroup. If you've had any projects or goals, this would be a really good time to kind of readdress, um, what your um, what your progress is, and or do you need a plan B? Um, Air mutable energy is about being flexible and being able to kind of change direction. What are those zero turn lawnmowers, where they're kind of stationary but can change direction? And that's this energy, is being able to quickly adjust if you need to, make a different plan, have the same goal but a different way to attain it, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. um, Gemini rules the third house in the natural zodiac, and this is where we find early childhood, uh, relations with siblings, and early environment in our family. Um, the key words are "I think." So this could be, people overthinking. Um, one of the things that I've seen happen quite a bit the last couple of days is, um, people with projects to compile large amounts of data, and feeling confident that what they're compiling is exactly what they're supposed to do, only to find out that they kind of mucked it up. And so remember, when Mercury is retrograde, it's like having a blind spot in our mind. We don't see everything. So as it stations direct with the Gemini energy, you might have to go back over something, like you didn't see some details or some options or something from before. And so you might be readdressing, something, that just didn't get, uh, communicated correctly. Um, the symbol of the twins is synonymous with a searching energy. The mythology behind the twins is that one twin is always searching for their lost twin. And I know on prior broadcasts I've mentioned this, and I just, whenever I think of Gemini, I had two Gemini brothers that were about 18 months apart. So they were very close in age. And I mean, they were that typical energy, like their lives and everything was spent always with that sort of never finding what they're looking for, constantly searching. It's somewhat of a fickle energy. And the saying about both of them and Gemini energy quite often is they're a jack of all trades, but master of none. It's the energy of, they could talk, there was never a stranger. I mean, they could talk to anybody they didn't know and make them feel like you've known them 30 years. So it's a very friendly energy, but it's also the trickster. So this is a time to be, again, discernment is a strong word in my mind that comes up um, to offer as advice, is be discerning about the information that's circulating. It's always about follow your instinct. Um, there's also a trine, which is a very positive aspect to the planet Venus. So trines bring gifts. And in Gemini, it could be two gifts. There could be a duality there of, a very typical interpretation of that would be you have to decide between two different people. Hey, Ms. B, thank you. I'm glad you could join us. Um, so, uh, full moon trine Venus is matters of love and money. You might have two sources of income that come to light or expand, because there's also um, some good energy here with Jupiter. I'm trying to remember what is going on. There's Jupiter is still retrograde, but it's also in Gemini. So Jupiter retrograde is holding hands with this full moon. And of course, Jupiter, one of the things about these energies is Jupiter is all about long journeys. Gemini is about short trips. So that's a lot of movement, whether it's, a big trip or, small trips or whatever, but that's a lot of movement.
Mhm.
So, that thing about regrouping, you may have, um, I just thought of this. So, this is the time of year when I kind of look to next year about getting away for a few days somewhere. And for a couple of years, I've just wanted to stay within driving distance somewhere. There's so much around where I live that I have not, bothered to check out historic sites and stuff like that. And it's cheaper to stay close by. And I was surfing the internet the other night looking for, places to plan a short trip. So that's very natural to this kind of energy and collecting data. Gemini is all about data and circulating information. It may take a little extra effort to concentrate under this energy, right? Because the mind, the synapses in the brain are just chatty, 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 buzz, 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 buzz. So, um, but Jupiter and the full moon like that is about opportunities. And you certainly could have, with the trine to Venus and the conjunction with Jupiter, you could have life-changing opportunities come up at this time. And so that whole point of being flexible and seeing, other possibilities, that plan B, very, very, what's the word? It's opportunistic, it's expansive. I'm thinking of a George Michael song he wrote called A Different Corner. And it was the song about when he met basically the love of his life. And if he had turned a different corner, they never would have met. So
Mhm.
that whole, some of the greatest things that can happen to our life is when you do something out of your routine or out of a pattern that puts you into another seam of time. So, something as simple as taking a different route home from work or to the store, a routine that you do all the time, make little variances from it. Like just take a different route. That was how I found my very first house I ever bought. Was I just started taking a different route home from work and went through a neighborhood and saw a little house and thought, that looks little enough to be able to afford. And so just being open to allowing gifts into your life, that's what trines bring. And A trine to Venus is about bringing you love and money and opportunity and work that you feel enriched by. This is a really wonderful energy for growing and feeling a strong sense of spirituality and connection. Um, um, but you have to open your mind. You can't have like a fixed idea of how things have to be,
Mhm.
or, everybody, when it comes to love, kind of has their checklist, and they want to tick the boxes of, you know, do they fulfill my idea of a mate? And that really does cut us off from really great opportunities. Like, go out with the guy that's out of your type or whatever you think is not on your list. Maybe he's not the one, but you meet up with someone through going out with him. So we need to be more open and willing to try things a different way. And
I
if
think, like, I just did the twin flame reading for this week,
yeah,
and the spiritual guidance was diversify.
oh,
So instead of like having your heart set on a particular thing, you could be missing like the bigger picture or like
absolutely.
another opportunity because maybe you were so tunneled in into a specific outcome. But if you have options, if you've explored, then you wouldn't know
Right.
because you were so fixated on like just like a person, place, or thing. So the energy of this week is to be open, to see what else is out there, because whatever that alternative thing is could be a lot better than what you thought that you could have had, or thought a certain situation would manifest. So yeah, so it's like, try not to be too rigid, be fluid.
Sounds like a
Is
good plan.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sounds like it that goes right along with the astrology of the full moon, really. And this moon is also, in folklore, considered the cold moon, and that is because it is the last full moon of the year, and we'll basically be in the dead of winter.
Mm.
So I believe it's December 21st marks the winter solstice. And that's when the sun will move from Sagittarius to Capricorn. So that's a very different kind of energy. It's the longest night of the year. And then after that is when the pattern, the orbit of the sun allows more light during the day. So where we've gone through shorter days, longer nights, after the solstice, it reverses and we start seeing a little more light every day. Now, East Coast, Northern Hemisphere, it equates to about 6 minutes a day that we start having a little more light. So, one of the things that came to my mind when thinking of the winter solstice, that is the word solstice is a Latin word that translates into sun stands still. So there is sort of this pause, and it is for many cultures and ancient people, this was a very spiritual time to connect your soul to earth. They built, I mean, different cultures built all kinds of structures, temples, pyramids. Stonehenge is believed to be some astro- astronomy measurement, of how light moves and affects the earth. So, astronomical, that's what I'm trying to say. Peru has Machu Picchu. Looking into this made me think of a book that came out I want to say late 80s, early 90s, called The 10th Insight. Do you remember that book? It was a spiritual journey that the guy went to Peru. And it was, labyrinths in different cultures basically is the journey for you to meet yourself and to know yourself and to find your center. So, this is a very spiritual time. Winter is about inward reflection. We've been in Mercury retrograde, which is very much connected to, staying quiet and reflecting inwardly as opposed to outward action. So, I think as we, get into the next week or so of the full moon, and Mercury will have station direct, and it'll take it another 10 days to pick up speed. So we're sort of in this paused period where you may still feel a little feel like being solitary, but then um, you're going to feel more active as we get closer to the end of the year. And with the holiday season right upon us, that might be a rub, trying to get yourself motivated to go socialize, and you know because the energy itself is somewhat one of solitude. you know um
I
Winter.
don't know. Like this Gemini energy, it just makes me feel a bit restless. I just want to relax. I want to feel grounded. I guess I'm waiting for like the Capricorn moon around the corner because like this energy is a little chaotic for me for my liking. Um
Yeah,
I
it's
just want,
exasperating.
yeah,
It's
it's
very important to have your tools for that grounding, for that, catch a breath. Like, this energy is very, I just get chatterbox. It's a very chattery kind of nervous energy. And sometimes you just need to take a breath. Your mind might be going in so many different directions and get yourself so bogged down that you just need to chill. Just chill.
mhm. I
And
feel like there's no time to chill. Like every time I turn around, there's always something, and I'm like, man. And then by the time I blink, it's like, wow, is it that time?
right.
Like, where did the time go? And it's way past bedtime. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give a couple of dates. I know you're going to be on a big trip, and we won't meet for a few weeks till January. But I
Hmm.
thought at least here for our program, I could at least give some dates to look out for things. So I had given you Saturday, the December 21st, is the winter solstice.
Hmm.
It's when the sun enters Capricorn. Um, Then we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. What else comes up? Let's see. Okay, Sunday, December 29th. Chiron has been retrograde for a long time. Chiron goes direct. Chiron is a very Jupiterian kind of energy. So, Jupiter and Chiron being retrograde at the same time may feel like um, something taking a long time to develop. It might seem like that opportunity is right on the horizon, but not quite in our path yet. So, Chiron going direct will help move that energy forward a little bit. The next day, on the 30th, is a new moon in Capricorn. So,
Business as usual.
well, the most interesting aspect with that new moon is Mercury trining Chiron. So here you've had Mercury and Chiron retrograde. They've both gone direct, and by the 30th, they are making a very positive trine is like a gift from the universe. It's when they're 120 degrees apart in the same element, and uh, Mercury trine Chiron, really solidifies some of these plans that have been somewhat fickle or changeable. That's really a time that brings things more solid. And, you could win a trip, or in 2012, I was unemployed, uh, financially on a very shaky ground, and just not in a good space at all. Got a call from a girl who I thought was going to be offering me a job opportunity, and instead said she had a all expense paid 10-day vacation to give me. It was so weird. And I did. I was like, well, the universe doesn't have a job for me right now, so they're sending me on a free vacation. And it was a wonderful trip. It was called the Great California Train Adventure. So I
Oh,
went into Colorado to catch a Zephyr Amtrak, which is the two-story train, and it's a sleeper train. You sleep on it and have a little room, and we went through the Rockies and made our way into Reno. But that couple of days on the train, I felt like cattle, because you're on a train. All you can do is either be in your room, or you can make it to the dining cars, and they feed you really, really well, wonderful food.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
there's more cars that are observation cars that are like all skylights you can see all around you. It was kind of neat going through the Rockies, watching fly fishermen, and very beautiful scenery. But after a couple of days, I mean, you're just like waddling you're not getting a lot of movement other than eating and going from back and forth to your room. And then, having hit Reno, we got onto a motor coach, and that leg of the trip was to make it to San Francisco. And
Oh,
we
from
stayed
Reno?
a couple of days at Fisherman's Wharf, and then we came down the Pacific Coast Highway to Hollywood and did some things around Hollywood, and then flew back. But, my point of telling you that is that was like a free gift, a free, all expense paid trip for 10 days at a time when the last thing you were thinking about was a trip. You needed work. You were trying to figure out how to pay your rent the next month, right? So
Mhm.
this kind of energy, a trine like that between Mercury and Chiron is, something might just fall in your lap that seems like a disconnect, but might be the very thing that you need. Because certainly things that take us in a different direction certainly change our perspective. I scraped together like $300 to have some pocket money, and my vet kept my dog because that was my only thing. I needed dog care and couldn't afford a kennel, so my vet kept my dog, and I mean, it was the last thing I was thinking of, but it was the very thing that was the best thing that could happen. So this connects to be open to, you know, the thing that you're not expecting, the person that you're not expecting. We all preempt opportunities with preconceived judgments of others, and we project our past experiences on future experiences. And this is an energy that says, you know, it's deeply spiritual and connected to your soul. And so you have to be willing to look at things from all sides and my mother had this saying, I can hear her saying it right now, try it, you might like it. We used to go to this salon to get our hair cut together, and there was this little cute hair stylist guy. His name was Philip, and he always flirted with us. And he would even like carry our bags to the car after we left, and chatter, chatter. And he kept asking me to go out to dinner. And I just got this vibe from him like he was just a player guy. He was really cute. And he probably, came on to all the women that came in the salon and everything. But my mother would say, well, try it. You might like it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this is that energy. It might be somebody that you have a preconceived judgment about that could really surprise you. You could have a really, a good experience, even if it is not and I did go out with him, and it didn't end well because he was only going out with me while his girlfriend was out of state visiting somewhere, the
Ah,
whole time coming on like he was single. So, but I mean, there for a little while, we had some fun. So that's another thing we all need to be more open to, is that when you meet someone, it doesn't mean that it has to be the one for all time, always. Maybe we're just here to have short lived experiences with lots of different people to, teach us about love and our heart and judgment and feeling deserving to be loved and learn how to receive, gifts from people and things. So, um, that's just this kind of energy to be more willing to adventure and try new things. I have a vision of one of those walls you climb, or a zip line, doing something daring and thrilling that, gets your adrenaline going. I've always wanted to do one of those tandem jumps, from an airplane. And I had a friend do it. She was terrified of heights, and I am too. And she did that just to face that fear. And I always think about that. And it's like, there was an airport near here. This was years ago. It was like $300 to do a tandem jump. And it's like, to be terrified to death and pay for it was just not something on my priority list.
let me pay you the freaking.
It just scared the bejesus out of me. So, but that's this energy. And, then
So,
we,
like, in order to like capture the essence of it, is there like the timing, like before the 21st, we should like embrace this energy, or would
well,
you say like it's more like around now, like 3 days
I
before now?
think it's more around like, the that week after Christmas and the first week of the year. I think it's more around
Oh,
the 30th, like that New Year's window there, because
okay.
the perfection of the trine is on the 30th.
Okay, got it.
A few days before and a few days after would be that that thrill seeker kind of energy. And it might be something that you've thought about a long time. Um, it's Sag Aries, so it could be something from um, your childhood. Aries is about children. It could involve children.
Mm.
Um, that was something that came up recently in a conversation about Christmas. There's something about children and Christmas, right? And as you get older, and I don't know that Christmas has as much punch or interest as it does. I think everybody might have different experiences with that. Some people just adore it, love it, go all out. Other people, just get through it and wait for it to be over. And
Mm-hmm.
but there is something about tapping into that child, when it was so fascinating to see the lights and the stories and making your list or writing a letter. My life changed when I realized that my oldest brother had been writing that letter from Santa to me all those years. When I realized that my oldest brother had been doing that and eating those cookies, I mean, I know it was the same. When you realize Santa is just, you know,
Your brother.
right. It just your life changes. It just takes that fascination out of it. So tapping into that childlike fascination is also under that energy because Chiron, you know, although it's sort of parallel with Jupiter, it's still about your soul's essence, a very spiritual kind of journey there. Um, I've also always felt that Chiron sort of parallels Saturn and those sort of life lessons that we learn. So, and with it involved with Mercury, that could very well be about how you communicate. You could have favorable communications from someone to you, or maybe you um, need to communicate something to someone that and it comes easier under a trine. Things come easier. So then we have New Year's Eve. We'll have a Capricorn's moon for and sun for both New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Let's see, anything else significant coming up? Oh, gotta go to my next calendar. So
My
then,
turn.
then we have um, the next lunation is the full moon in Cancer. I mean, there's some other aspects and things I'm not going to break down. These are just sort of the big highlights of the different lunations. So that moon will be conjunct Mars that day. So we'll have a full moon in Cancer holding hands with Mars on January 13th. And you and I had decided we would get together for a live on Friday the 10th.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that first week, let's see, the 9th, we have Uranus and the moon holding hands. So that can be um, a little nerve wracking when Uranus is on top of a personal planet like that. But, we've been under these energies of revelation. Revelation, um, a seeking. There's just been this seeking to figure things out and, you know, maybe mysteries, getting a little more information. And I think we'll continue with that kind of energy of exposure. And um, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of our talks about a law that had taken into effect January 1 called the Corporate Transparency Act. And this was kind of big brother government trying to make an effort to regulate small business in an effort to stop money laundering. And really, it's just intrusive and absurd. Nonetheless, it did pass and it went into effect, and it's created havoc on any companies that have less than 20 people. And um, there are absurd fines that this is through the Department of Treasury, that if you didn't make this, what's called beneficial owner report by the end of this year, you could face up to $250,000 fine, a year in jail. I mean, they had some really stiff penalties. Well, I've been dealing with this in my work since early in the year, and just growled by the whole thing because it's like they'll let huge mega billion-dollar corporations, get away with fraud and all kinds of things. If they want to pick on little, like, ma and pa shops because they might be money laundering. So I've really had a hard time with it, and I have tried to sort of monitor, any kind of pushback on it. And there have been lawsuits in different parts of the country about it being unconstitutional.
Mm.
Well, the other day, one of the Texas Supreme Courts ruled a nationwide ban of the CTA, Corporate Transparency Act, that it was unconstitutional. So there is this IRS website for just this particular thing for people to do. And there for a couple of days, it still was the banner going through what the penalties were if you didn't. And then 2 days ago, that banner changed and it said reporting this is completely voluntary. So I bring this up to give the idea of that kind of it's called transparency, and we're all seeking transparency. So,
Mhm.
when you've got some, I don't know what I saw on some kind of news reel about how many billions of dollars of waste in certain government agencies, and you've got people who have to choose between whether to get medicine or food or living in their car. So there's just this real dysfunction. And I think people are waking up to wanting to know, it shouldn't be this way. Why is it this way? And certainly with this Gemini sort of seeking energy, we're all seeking the truth. We're seeking, you know, things to come out and be real, and um, not so much hiding anymore. So I think we should be prepared to, on a personal level, seeing truths come out that might be a little shocking or surprising, and then also on a mundane, more global level, things coming out that um, you know purge, so to speak. There's sort of a purification energy that all of this adds up to, and I think it's exciting. It could be you personally purging.
Oh, I'm going through a purge, all right. I can't wait. Eh.
I read I read this thing yesterday about iodine, and that iodine has always been associated with just the thyroid, but that every nerve ending in our body benefits from iodine, and our basic diet does not give us enough, right?
Mm.
And that if you're not having enough, you keep cold hands, cold feet, and that can be iodine related. And I don't know that that's true, but uh, hi, Alicia. Chewbacca. Hey, ladies, I'm at a restaurant and can only superficially watch. Almost a full moon above all. Happy delayed birthday. So, Chewbacca,
Oh, not
thank
yet.
thank you for checking in. And superficial or not, we appreciate your energy. And
Mhm.
Alicia, I haven't seen
Yeah,
you
and then
in a while.
happy birthday to Shabaka because we won't be here for her birthday.
Yeah.
So happy early birthday to you. My birthday isn't until January, honey. So
So the birthday is the solar return. It's when
mhm.
the sun returns to its original position as it was when you were born. It means to celebrate renewal. And it goes like from, your solar year is from January 14th to January 14th. Mine is from August 8th to August 8th. So your solar year is from birthday to birthday. And the birthday is considered when you are at the height of your shining, and to celebrate renewal, anything that's not worked out in the last year, to start with a clean slate. And that salutation you see, everyone write on their card, many happy returns, they're actually referring to a solar return. So it's
Mhm.
a very significant time in everybody's life, and it's about starting fresh. So that's pretty cool. Well, I have chatted enough. I've been chatty, chatty, chatty. And for this Gemini energy, I pulled out the cue cards, which are very crazy and funny and erratic. But I just felt like they're sort of trickster like cards, and this is a trickster kind of energy.
Hmm.
Tricky energy, tricky, tricky.
I don't know. I guess I'll use this, but I'm not sure. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Um, this is the Maruk cards that I have.
Nice.
This particular person makes many different versions of this. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but we will find out.
Okay.
It was actually gifted to me by Morgan. So I don't know if Morgan is still watching me, but thank you, honey, for your lovely gift.
Chewbacca is close to being a Christmas baby.
Mm-hmm.
People born near Christmas really get shortchanged, don't they? You know, it's like everybody's focused on the
Chris,
holiday. And
they don't get a birthday.
my mother's birthday was the 20th, and it always got lumped into Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
My boss's birthday is the 22nd. Is that
Oh,
what that is?
you found out about that?
Yeah.
So what is he's a Capricorn.
Yeah, right on the
Cus.
cusp of the Capricorn.
Hmm. Interesting.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, I have something already for Aries.
Aries. This is pop the cork, celebrate.
And I have forgiveness is for you. Forgive others and yourself because your soul deserves peace.
I like it. Aries. Pop the cork, celebrate,
Celebrate,
forget.
forgive, like make peace, drink a little. I don't know, forget about it.
I feel like that's a lot to do with self forgiveness. Forgive
Mm.
yourself.
Yeah, maybe Aries, you've been really hard on yourself. Just like and I know Aries wouldn't have any issues of like living a little and celebrating a little bubbly or something, but
Yeah,
um don't take it too hard for whatever that you're going through. This should be a peaceful time, but you may feel a little bit on edge. So it's okay to feel okay is what I'm getting with that.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. That's very positive.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have Taurus.
Taurus. Taurus. Oh, choose words carefully.
Mhm. And I have use essential oils. Essential oils can help boost your mood and promote positive energy. So, like maybe Taurus needs a zen and um, I don't know, relax. Like, what's going on with you, Taurus?
Tension.
Tension, take an edge off. I mean, I know everyone's having the holiday, um, I don't want to say blues, but a holiday. I don't know what you want to call this.
Anxiety and
Yeah, anxiety. So, like, before you spout off and like say your piece, just like I don't know, like
it says choose words carefully.
yeah, you use some oils to help relax.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you do to. kind of take a bath.
Decompress.
Hmm.
Chill. Yeah.
It's fine. I feel it too. So you're not the only one.
We're all in it together. We're all in this fishbowl together.
Yeah, it's been rough this week. So next we have Gemini.
Yeah. A lot going on for Gemini.
Hmm.
Oh, I got the wild card.
Oh wow, I could barely read that.
Anything's possible with a wild card.
Mhm.
Pick your desire.
The desire is to wake up early.
Oh,
Aim to wake up earlier in the morning to chase your dreams. So maybe if you want to get stuff done, like wake up early, have you a cup of coffee or tea, and yeah, any the world is your oyster.
a lot of circulating, a lot of visiting, a lot of chatting,
Hmm.
gossip.
Like there's so much to do. If you wake up early, you might be able to do that and then some.
Yeah.
That's actually really good,
Yeah,
Gemini.
it is.
I mean, I think it's because Gemini can handle this kind of energy. So, like,
Yes.
they could,
They're
like,
sort of in their element here.
yeah, like that's natural.
Yeah.
Like, use it to your advantage because I'm like, what you said, exasperated. It's a little much for me.
It's a little intense.
Hmm. So now I have Cancer.
And I have messenger with good news.
And she says, F being
Nice.
nice. Be nice, but not too nice. Not everyone deserves your kindness. And you're talking about the fishbowl.
Love it. Oh, yeah.
So I think this goes in alignment with what you were telling me earlier before we popped on the live. Yeah, don't be nice.
Well, and I think setting healthy boundaries does bring good news, when you just decide you don't want to be pushed around anymore.
Mhm, mhm.
So I
Yeah.
went to this little party Tuesday night with a group of ladies. It's like 10 or 12 of us. We all know each other through having antique booze and going to auctions over the years. And I don't have them anymore, and a couple of the ladies, but some do. But we none of us have much family, and we've always made like a Christmas gathering, and we do that sort of um, whatever the gift exchange where you just bring a gift without a tag, and then you draw names, and you can steal each other's gift or
Mhm.
whatever, and something to eat. And we were sitting around, and gosh, what did you say that made me think of that? What?
F being nice.
Oh, right, right. So one of the gifts that this girl opened, it was like on a cardboard, and it was a little silver bracelet with these like little balls, sort of not any kind of linear pattern. And on the cardboard, it said, "This is Morse code for fuck you." I loved it.
Uh, yeah, so
Little
so
silver bracelet.
mhm,
Like
mhm.
that.
That's cute.
That was cute.
Mhm.
And the
Sometimes
girl whose gift it was, she said someone had given it to her because we were all wondering
oh,
where she got it. She's like, I don't know. It was She was regifting something, and we're just those kinds of friends where we can admit we're regifting something.
Ah, but
Yeah,
that's a cute, like, little regifting,
yeah. We,
Somebody deserves that.
and, I've been wanting to look that up because I feel like there would be other Morse code, messages and that kind of, some sort of line of that product.
Mhm, mhm. No, that's actually a nice, like, gimmicky, item,
So
you
the
know?
rules for the gift are it's either funny, naughty, or bawdy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting, huh.
It has to
So it
be
wasn't like a monetary value, it's
like
more like a
$5.
theme. Oh,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of the other interesting gags was an umbrella for your cell phone so you could read it while you were in the sun. And kind of this toboggan cap thing that looked like a cat.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, some socks that when you put them on look like cat paws and dog paws.
Oh, that's cute.
Uh, stemless wine glass with a cork that had a gnome on it, and the glass said, Merry Christmas and gnome regrets. One of them was a calendar of dogs pooping. So every month you would have a different dog pooping on the
Oh, gross.
yeah, yeah,
That's interesting, though. You wouldn't know what kinda gifts until you go to, like, a little party like that, and
right. The
then you get, like,
gags.
yeah, then you get a good laugh,
Yeah,
um, because you never know what people are gonna come up with, when they get together and have gifts like that, so
it's hard to find anything worth spending $5 on.
yeah, these days, $5, I mean, you gotta go to the dollar store for something like that.
The
Mm,
life of me, I can't think of what the other gifts were, so they must have not have been very funny.
mhm. Well, I mean, that was plenty, you know?
Uh, yeah, I don't, I'm not remembering any of the other ones. I think the funniest one was the Morse code bracelet.
Mhm, mhm.
And the
Yeah.
girl who won it, who ended up getting it, she does manage and run an antique store. And so she can come up against a lot of people that she probably has that sentiment towards.
Mhm, mhm.
Wear it and nobody knows any
What
better.
it means.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Japanese tempayaki. I love, is tempura Japanese? Is that Chinese?
I don't know.
I had Chinese food for the last 2 nights.
A restaurant where I'm a regular, it's a Japanese, temporiyaki. Temporiyaki. Mm. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Basically, they have, like, these bento boxes and, everything is, like, a little deep fried, like deep fried vegetable and then deep fried, like, shrimp or anything, similar to that. Uh,
nice.
yeah, and then always, maybe, like, some sushi, but usually it's, like, safe sushi, like, not, like, the fishy
Yeah,
stuff, like California roll or something like that. And then, like, with miso soup on the side. I mean, usually the Japanese, they'll hook you up, like, you won't really go hungry, I don't
yeah.
think.
Isn't
Yeah.
that sake? Isn't sake their
Mhm.
traditional alcohol?
Yeah. Yeah, they serve it warm. So
I think I remember getting pretty tanked on sake one time.
mhm, mhm.
What's your
But,
card for Leo? I had one fall out.
I have dream big, live your dream, never give up on your dreams, dare to live the adventure.
This says stay in bed.
Luna, what's that say? Stay
Stay
in
in
bed?
bed.
Live your dream and stay in bed. What kind of dream are you dreaming,
No,
Leo?
might be some sexual dreams.
Maybe. Uh,
Stay in bed, Leo.
yeah. Actually, like with this energy, it's probably better to stay in bed for a little bit longer and maybe not all day. Um,
I
you
know
know.
I've been oversleeping lately. I don't know if it's because the temperatures have gone down in the 20s and it's cold and dark in the morning, but every day lately I have been staying in bed longer.
Oh, wow. That's so strange. I feel so disconnected with everyone because I've moved to a warmer climate area. Like
Right.
when it's normally like really cold and freezing outside, but it is like 70 degrees, but
Nice.
it will get cold or colder like when around like 5 o'clock, then it starts to get cool. But during the daytime, I'm sweaty and it's like 70, like 2 degrees. And I'm like, oh my God. Hibernation season. Oh,
I
okay.
love it. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I'm not feeling that yet. I will though soon.
We've had frost on the windshield lately.
See that I think I'm missing out. Like it's hot. That's
Nice.
why I think I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I'm missing out.
No, you're not. You're just
Really?
missing something new. All right,
Um,
Virgo. This is share
hmm.
the wealth.
And I have used discernment. And it says, see things for what they really are, not for what you want them to be. So use your discernment when it comes to like spending or gifting. It's like, I don't know, lying and truth. Like,
So that goes along with this energy of discernment. A lot of information circulating and needing to discern. You know what works for you and what you can pass up on.
hmm. I'm also getting like, don't lie to yourself, like really be honest.
Right.
Um, see things for what they are because that's like wearing the rose-colored glasses sometimes, where you might think you like need to do something but really you don't, or maybe trying to be the hero and you don't have to. Like, stop lying to yourself. I
Right.
feel like because Virgo likes to protect and they like to, kind of like do for others, and they feel that they're responsible in that way and everything has to be a certain way, but yours says share the wealth. um,
Yeah, that could be, the wealth of your heart, the wealth of your essence. Doesn't necessarily need to be a physical wealth, but
yeah, I feel like maybe over giving, because 'tis the season to be, like giving.
cray, cray.
Great. I think, Virgo, it's okay to,
Not be perfect.
yeah, it's okay to like not even. It's like I even for myself, am I like lying to myself that I need to do X, Y, and Z when really it's fine? Hmm.
Well, Virgo does, it's about service to humanity, and having healthy boundaries about what that might entail, and without any feeling of guilt or, like you've done less than perfect.
Well, I know I messed up on a few orders, like in terms of like sending out packages and stuff, not necessarily what was inside it, but like recently I had an option where you can personalize like the gift card. And so people they would write down like what they want to the recipient. And I butched this one up like so bad. Like I said happy and happy was misspelled birthday like Merry Christmas and exclamation point dot dot, I was like, what in the world? Like even I was like a little like embarrassed, and she posted it publicly, and I'm like, "Oh,
Oh
fuck."
my gosh.
Luckily, I was able to course correct and rectify it. I paid an extra $10 to
Oh,
send her a new card with the proper spelling and
wow.
stuff, and so, I felt really bad, though, it's
I know what
'cause
you
she
mean.
did spend, quite a bit to have that, and she's like, "I can't gift this to, my daughter-in-law," and, I was like, "Oh, that's okay, ma'am. I will fix it for you," and so, finally, she sent me a message that she did receive the card, and, she was able to fix that review, so I just felt bad. And then, like, there's a lot of things about people living out in the sticks, where population 2,000 and their address is not registered in the postal system.
Right.
And things would get returned back. And then, like, the local post office you would think that they would know who all lives in their little old
You would
town.
think.
Yeah, you would think, but they're like,
They
either they don't have it all together and they just, well, there is no root blah 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 and we got to turn it back and like send it back to so I've had that happen a few times. So I've had a lot more rural customers that lives out in the middle of nowhere,
right.
and I'm like, man. So I told the lady, I said, don't worry about the return postage. I'll take care of it, but if it comes back then you can for the three times the charm, right?
Oh gosh.
But yeah, her mother-in-law lives out on a farm, like, in the sticks somewhere, and yeah, that, like, I'm learning, like, new things, and I just wish things were smooth sailing, but this is the first time I've encountered, like, shipping issues to people that live out in them.
Right. You're learning plan B
Yeah, so, anyways, so for Libra, I have fun again.
in
Live.
this encounter.
Oh, wow, look at that. Learn to love life again and try to enjoy life by having more fun with a new encounter.
Yeah, it even looks like sometimes when I do this card funny, like the lights are flickering.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually animated.
Doesn't that look weird?
Mhm, mhm. I've noticed that on your side. It looks like, yeah, things are moving around over there.
That is weird
Mhm.
because the card is just flat. It doesn't have any sparklies on it or anything. That's
Uh,
weird. I like that for Libra. They're going to have like a social time.
it's time to get out and have fun.
I
Go
like
go
that
with
a lot. Yeah.
go with the flow. You never know who you're gonna meet out there on a dance floor or wherever you're going.
Yeah, since I've talked to you, we had our holiday party for the firm and it was held at a big Omni hotel, very swanky.
Mhm, mhm.
There was a DJ and a dance floor and the big guy of the whole place, who's always very, very serious and very, very gruff, was actually on the dance floor by himself dancing. I thought that was so fun. He was very serious and very zipped up. And I was like, oh my God, he's on the dance floor dancing by himself. It's great.
Sometimes, if you don't care and you're there to have a good time, you gotta like,
People are so funny. Especially when you see people you work with out in a more social atmosphere. And of course, drinking was going on, and it was interesting.
Interesting. Uh,
And then some of the people, you were able to meet like their partner. And, where I work, the big guy, his wife is second in command, so it's a husband and wife that run the place. And then eventually she was on the dance floor with him, and I just really liked seeing them more relaxed because they're usually very stressed out and busy with work.
mhm, mhm.
Um, yeah.
Well, that's weird because like he's a cusp, right?
Well,
So,
that's my boss.
oh, your boss,
He's the
but this is
main, yeah, he's the big guy of the whole firm. My
mm,
boss is a partner in the firm.
okay,
I
got
don't
it.
know what, I need to find out when his birthday is. But yeah, there is one girl, she just stayed on the dance floor and danced the whole time by herself. She never sat down, never never left the dance floor.
Or maybe she really liked to dance.
Yeah. If there was a contest, she won.
Mm, sometimes I feel like, I'm not missing out on these company parties, you know what I mean? Like,
No, I went because I'm somewhat new, and
you wanted to at
it
least.
was at the building where I used to work. I parked in the same parking space that I used to park in every day. So we talk about retrograde, going back over past stuff. That's a perfect example. I'm
Mhm.
heading downtown like I'm going to work, and the same building, same parking space. It was really kind of weird, but it's a very pretty building, and all decked out for the holidays. And um, I'm glad I went. I didn't stay very long, and I did not drink. I purposely drove so I wouldn't drink because the firm was paying for people to get Uber if they wanted to drink and get an Uber home.
Oh, I see.
And so,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it was a good people watching event. They had a lot of food.
Mhm, mhm.
It was nice. Not companies don't throw big parties as like they used to. It's a nice perk. That's a that's a pretty good penny to put down to rent a hotel banquet room and free bar and food and DJ and parking. I mean, that's a pretty big expense, and it's your treat. So I liked it. I like that they do that because not everybody does that anymore.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, it's been a while since I went to like a proper like company party, like, a big one.
Yeah,
Um,
companies don't do it as much anymore.
mhm. Yeah. Well, that's good. So for Scorpio, well, Nelly,
Oh, Nelly.
I have read, and it says, "The more you read, the more you learn." Oh, well, no kidding.
Whoa,
uh,
Nelly.
yeah, read. Is that like being like,
Whoa, Nelly usually means like, take a step back. Whoa, Nelly. Don't go too fast into something. Maybe that means read and get more educated on whatever you're thinking about doing and
yeah, my contract.
take a step back.
Yeah. So
Whoa,
I think I'm gonna like really take my time this weekend to peruse my contract, make sure it's okay before I send it.
yeah,
So or maybe I'll read. Maybe I'll learn something too.
yeah. Do that chat GBT. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that thing actually went down yesterday for a little bit. Like there's a lot of tech uh companies where their services went out for a little, like a, it was like a rolling
Huh?
like one platform, like for whatever reason, like it wasn't working. Then another platform. It was weird, but it
Wow.
was all on the same day.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Is this my computer or is it the company?" Like, I didn't question it. I'm like, whatever.
Interesting.
It is, but again, we're still in a retrograde, so I was like, "Huh, whatever." Oh wow! So for Sag, I have do the 30-day challenge.
And say Sarah Sarah.
Um, Force yourself to do something new for 30 days to form a new habit.
I like that. This is say goodbye to the old bad habits.
Hmm. And it says April, so you it says 30 days, but maybe you have until April to figure it out.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay, Sarah Sarah. What will be, will be.
hmm So, like, maybe this is a good time for Sag to make plans. You know, force yourself to change, to like do something different.
Sag
Um,
loves the truth.
hmm Well, they do like to read.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it's just like doing something different, like what we were talking about, like going a different direction, try not to be too
Right.
fixated on an outcome, because the alternative, the plan B, might actually be better.
Right.
I think that's good, Sag.
Yeah.
All right, so next we have Cappy. Oh, Cappy.
It says open mind.
And I know, okay, this one says shadow work. Uncover every part of you that have been repressed and abandoned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty,
Deep.
yeah.
And keep an
And
open mind.
so maybe Capricorn, maybe you're not admitting that you need to like open up, that there's still some work that needs to be done, like in terms of yourself. Um, Maybe you've been holding some stuff back. I mean, honestly, it does feel like, it's a time to like really work through the difficult stuff and
This
just
energy is definitely like that, like so soulful, going deep into yourself to be honest and address any of your fears or tribulations.
I got plenty of those. Um, yeah, I'm just taking it one day at a time.
That's the best way.
Yeah, that's why I was like, how long is this Gemini energy lasting? Because I'm waiting for the Capricorn energy to roll around.
Just okay, let's see, just about, let's see, we're on the 13th. So
So
maybe
like
another 10 days.
10 days too long. I'll be all right.
It'll fly by.
I know.
All right. So for Aquarius, I got attraction.
And I have avoid toxic people, hang out with people who will let's see here, uplift your spirit, not bring you down.
This might be, you know, maybe you're a magnet for freaks, and this energy is about recognizing that and avoiding toxic people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
might be one of your lessons to learn, that sometimes just because the energy is familiar doesn't mean it's healthy or good.
Mhm.
And I think for a lot of us, the toxic energy is familiar. So we misjudge it as being what we are supposed to have because it feels good and because it's familiar, but it's not good. And we have to break that sort of pattern to that we fall into with codependency or people pleasing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think Aquarius should know like the difference. At least we would think. Um, so just be on
No, but it's doing it is the thing.
just
You
be on the lookout, Aquarius. I think I think you would know like
know,
who or what. I mean, it could be Aquarius themselves that may be the perpetrator in this instance. You
it's
know,
just too hard.
yeah.
Sometimes it's just too hard.
I mean, the holidays does make people drive them to drink, and
And it drags them into family units that have negative patterns that are familiar, that so many people talk about how, they dread going to the in-laws or they dread traveling, and it's just patterns that go over and over and over, and those are hard to break, and feeling like you'll hurt somebody's feelings if you don't show up to their house, and all those sort of expectations, and making everybody happy, doing things you don't want to do so everybody will stay, you know, calm and not create drama.
mm-hmm.
Maybe creating drama is the very thing we should do. I don't know what the answer is to that. That's a quagmire.
I was about to say that's a very Gemini thing to be or not to be. That's the answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I know one of the
Mm.
hardest Thanksgivings I ever had. It was after my divorce, and I just wanted to go to the beach. I didn't get very much. I never got time off from work, and it was one of the few times I had a couple of days off from work, and I just wanted to go and be alone at the beach, and asking and talking to my mother about breaking that tradition of the family, you know, and being there and wanting to be away. She wasn't crazy about it, but she understood, and I did do it. And on that Thanksgiving, I was sitting on the beach eating a tuna fish salad sandwich, and I was very
Oh,
happy.
so that's the thing that because that's what you normally eat, right? Like around that time on the Thanksgiving.
Tuna fish salad sandwich.
Yeah, or it's something similar, I think, right? That's
Well, it's usually a
oh,
big
peanut
dinner.
peanut butter jelly, or is that Christmas?
Oh, I can eat peanut butter and jelly anytime.
I haven't had that in a long time, actually.
I love peanut butter and jelly. It's like the go-to.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I
but I mean,
have.
that's hard to do, to you know step out of a tradition for your own sense of peace, or making that decision for yourself, knowing that it will upset people.
Mhm.
And there's ways that you can communicate that people can understand what you need to do for yourself, and then there's people who just are going to blow it out of proportion and not accept that you want to do something different. So we're right here at the holidays when all that kind of volatility with tradition and family is ripe. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I invited my brother over for Thanksgiving.
You
He didn't.
did.
Yeah, he didn't even bother to answer me, but I found out recently that he's in good contact with my family who is here in the United States, and I'm like finally living in the same like vicinity, and I don't see him.
Oh,
So I'm like, whatever.
how's his wife doing?
She's she's better from what I heard. Obviously, I'm not getting the full picture over here, but yeah, okay. My brother recently posted like pictures of him and his daughters at like some Santa, you know how like families they post pictures of them going to these like holiday things for kids and stuff, and
Yeah.
so there was that, and he posted, just being a dad, like spending time. Like, you don't have to go there and like whatever. Like I could see it, but although, okay, you post all this and that, but you can't even say hello to me. And then the time that he did communicate to me, he says, "I'm sorry, like I'm going through like a lot right now, you know." And yeah, there's a lot that's going on, and that's that. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And there was a favor that he wanted to ask of me, but he never even said it. He said, "Sorry, like I just parked in the driveway. I'm going in. I'll talk to you later. Bye." And that was it. So he vented.
Siblings.
Yeah, he vented, and that was it. I was like, "Okay, you didn't finish." Yeah, that's my brother, and he drives me crazy. So, anyways, Pisces, clear your energy.
This is cut ties.
Yeah, cut ties with whatever that is holding you down. Refuel your energy, claim your power, and cut the thing. Cut those energetic cords. Because honestly, I think that's what needs to happen for him personally. Um, and I guess surface level, he seems to be okay. But yeah, that's all I know. My dad says, just let him go. He has PTSD and all this and that. And I'm like, okay, well,
You made a huge life change, to go out there and be near him. And
mm. Well, I did it for me too. Like, I needed a backup plan for a babysitter. Like, so when I go abroad, I feel comfortable because family is close by, but he doesn't even come around. I'm like,
right.
"Well, what the hell, man? Like, I could have stayed in Washington." Like, but I'm not complaining because if I didn't move, I wouldn't have like this big kitchen that I always wanted. And I love every time I go in the kitchen, I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful because I look at it and I'm like, oh.
The picture you sent me, it's beautiful out there.
It's very like it looks like a resort, and like and it's great. I love like living here in that sense, but like I don't know.
It's a change.
Yeah, I know my brother's going through stuff, but yeah, that's fine. Yeah, what does his sister know?
Well, I
I,
don't know.
I deal with relationships all the time. Like he doesn't even. It's so ironic, you know.
Yeah.
I guess family doesn't want it from their like, from family.
Right. People you're closest to are the ones that you'll hurt the most because they're family and they'll be there for you and forgive you or whatever.
Yeah, I think he would more or less like talk to someone like a friend rather than for me. Um, for his own personal situation with his wife. But like this isn't the first time, because he was married before, and
I get the feeling like he just doesn't want to be judged, you know. I do think he's going through a lot.
That's why I'm just letting it go. You know, what can I say? Um,
But who isn't going through a lot? I mean, really.
I think everyone, because I was actually in a little remote meeting with a group of people back up in Washington, and this is for the caregiver situation to learn. Like you had to go to a class to be a caregiver, and I heard that like people are just going through it up there. Like not only the weather, but just on a personal level. Um, so I'm sensing that it's not just like a
Wasn't
person.
there a big earthquake up towards Oregon and Washington State recently?
I think it was northern part of Oregon, maybe like California. Um, Washington is on that line, the subduction, Cascadian subduction zone, which I was like, like we need to get out of here,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
it goes under and stuff because like Mount Rainier and in St. Helens is right up there and like
right.
I can see it like it's so beautiful like you would think that it's a mountain but it's a freaking volcano and and it's like right there and yeah I could see it from my house and luckily I was able to visit there before I left but Um, yeah, it's just weird how things have like been really active in that corner lately.
I
But
know.
I've also seen like here in Arizona, we're actually having a little of the tremors too, from Arizona into Utah, I think, or Nevada. So it's all on the West Coast. It's not just like up in the normal areas because I guess now that I live here in this area, I'm getting the news bits. It's just so strange, but it's like there's a line, and maybe I don't know, like what's up with the line? I don't know if it's tunnels or the things like starting to like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
only time will tell.
I know, but yeah, that's all I have.
Lord.
So let me see here in the comments. Mhm. Okay. The Alaska Cottage brother. Yes, Shabaka, you remembered. My brother loves Alaska. He is such
Yes.
like a outdoorsy guy and loves like hunting and like the cold, but he's been living in Arizona for like the past 7 or 8 years. He's like in the wrong state.
I was trying to remember what took him to Arizona.
Well, his wife is actually from California, and I think it was just the work opportunity and cost of living here at the time was like cheaper before the Californians started to invade. So there's like this running joke I have between me and my son. I said, "Yeah, we're being bombarded by Californians and the Mexicans. Like they're coming at us at all angles and stuff." But I'm a transplant from Washington, so what am I here to say? But, like, recently, I don't know if I'll say it. So, recently, I went to Walmart, right? And I asked this guy who was working there, if I can get cat food from the top shelf, and the guy is actually Mexican, like, he doesn't speak, no English, and I'm like, "Wow," like, okay. So the guy, and I think he's from California because he sounded like he was from the valley and things like that. And he says, "Well, let me help you." And he's like, he reaches up there and gives me a bag of food. And I said, "Oh, is that it?" I was like, "Is there bigger ones?" I was like, "Can I have one more?" He says, "Sure." He says, "Yeah, he don't understand." So it's like he already knew that he didn't understand English. I didn't know, like, I'm just thinking like they work there. They like in order one of the prerequisites.
Would be
Like
the,
you need,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
communication.
yeah. And so that wasn't the first time. So I was walking down. I was like, oh, I need some whipped cream. Well, I don't go to this Walmart very often. I was like, Excuse me, sir," to another guy. I said, Can you tell me where the whipped cream is?" And he was like, he brought out his little cell phone and
Oh, goodness.
2 times. I was like, "Oh, my son needs a job."
Right.
Oh my god. I was like, I was like, like this. My son can speak English. He can do all these things, and they can't help me. And then finally there was another guy who spoke English, and he says, "Here, let me help you." So he kind of knew that we didn't know how to speak
Wow.
English. Yeah. So like I don't know these things because I'm new here, but apparently since I'm on the border, there's a lot of them that live here who are employed, and they don't speak English.
Gosh, it just one, just makes you wonder how they get along, how they get by. I guess with the
Well, so
computer.
the thing is, like, I know in Texas, like in Laredo specifically, it's mostly all like Mexican speaking people, and and they don't speak English. So, like, the people that live there, they can speak their language, so it's okay.
Right.
But like, I'm living here where it's mostly English speaking people, but like they're employing people who don't speak English. And I think it's because like there's a law against like non-discrimination, and so they do hire people who either have a disability, or things of that nature. At least that's what I'm thinking, that that's the reasoning for hiring people who can't speak.
But don't you have to have a social security number to have a checking account, to have a paycheck put in it? Or, I mean, they don't pay them cash, right? Or, I mean,
Maybe they got in for relatives that live here in the United States, and this is like their uncles, aunts, like mother, father coming to America. I don't know. I don't know how they're able to get employment. But I just sat here like I have an autistic son. I have an older son who are looking for jobs, and yeah. So it's just one of those things. I was like really upset, that they couldn't help me
that's
properly.
just bizarre how people get along with just basic, like signing a lease, getting,
Yeah,
like,
because
I
they bring out the interpreter. They bring out like the person who can speak.
mm, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, so I mean, I guess that's it. I saw some other person in here. They're talking about Jasara, discernment, ascension, perfection. Our perfection maybe within our cosmic consciousness, heartfelt, feeling sovereign. Mm. Sovereign Savior Spirit being within us all, accepting now, thank you. Yeah. But anyway.
Spiritual times for sure.
Hmm. So, like, if anyone has any questions, let us know. Otherwise, you can definitely check out Sunny at linemountainhealing.com if you want to dive into like what the future holds for you, right? Like you were mentioning the solar return earlier. So that's like a good chart to actually get into. So yeah, lionmountainhealing.com for that. And then we will reconnect in the new year on the 10th of January. So I
I'll
will
be
look
in
forward
touch
to
with
it.
you before you leave.
Yes.
And
And yeah, and to everyone else, like I hope everyone has like a Merry Christmas or Happy Holiday and a
yeah,
Happy New Year. And yeah, I just really don't know like what 2025 brings. But
brings good stuff.
well, I know it's gonna be a change for sure. It's
Yeah,
gonna be different than what we've normally been used to.
yeah.
So
It's
that's
all
good.
good. We're been pulled through a knothole for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
I will make a confession here before we wrap it up.
Okay.
This speaks to this idea of traditions and people pleasing and um, listening to your own inner dialogue. So, I like history and research and everything. And I really cannot see Christmas celebrations the way the majority of people do. If you look at even the religious side, where the whole story about the day Jesus was born, historically, it's been debunked. There's no way he could have been born December 25th. That some powers that be, through a government authority centuries ago, designated that. I have this, conspiracy theory, diabolical thought pattern that it probably had something to do with the end of the year and taxes. But, it's just that feeling of not wanting to fake fake a storyline that's been made up. It produces income for retailers. It I don't know. It just doesn't feel real to me. I remember a historian talking about, you know, a more logical birth date would have been sometime in September, based on, just scriptures and um, records being studied, which I have not. I'm just strictly like looking at the high notes of somebody else's research. But I was driving down the road thinking, if I started talking about, why do we celebrate this day? And it's not really what you think it is. I mean, people would just be mortified. you know, you're crazy. But that's my true confession is I think that it's all kind of a sham. And I wish more truth would come out about all of this stuff and how the dates get chosen and you
Well,
know
there was an anthropologist I actually follow, and he told me that some of the months are actually backwards in terms of like the times of the year. Like
right,
October is not really October. It should be like November, and
right,
then November should be like September or something like that. Like the
something, yeah,
yeah, but it's because of whoever that is doing the ritual aspect is deciding
right,
when these dates are, um, you know.
significant,
So
yeah,
yeah, so whoever has the power to say like this is the day that this is whatever that needs to occur on, is how things should be, and so. Um, I believe that there is like some sort of manipulation to that effect. I mean, because we talked about um, like some of the Greek stuff, the mythology also that you were talking about with some of these holidays and the cover up story of what those may be. But also like recently, so the thing is, like, you've heard of Saint Nicholas, right?
Right.
Well, recently I found out or come to know that Saint Nicholas is actually from Turkey. And it's actually a Turkish guy who adopted some like Christian or Catholic name, but basically it's just this regular guy who has been like giving to like the needy, to kids who are without, and so he was named
There you
Saint
go.
Nicholas, and that has been like their tradition. And then it kind of got turned into like a symbolic thing with a guy with a beard and
Right.
a hat, you know.
Right.
So, and I think that like tradition made its way to the United States, but it's been modified for
Right.
American uh, consumerism, you
Right.
know, because in Holland, they do have these helpers and they call them Black Pete's. Now, obviously, we can't have Black Pete's running around the United States because that's racist, right? But the people in Holland, they actually put black shoe polish on these people who are white, and they don't think anything of it. They don't think that it's a racist thing,
Right.
but Americans would be offended if they had like Black Pete. So what
Right.
Americans do is they changed it into little elves and gnomes or whatever. Like Santa's helpers are the little ones, really.
Well, and the other angle of it that I find so disturbing and twisted is all the cover up from like the early religious practices through Catholicism and blood sacrifices and um,
Yeah, because there are talks about that inside the Bible, like the sacrificial lamb, and uh,
right.
yeah,
But even just the deviant stuff that's come out from the Vatican and just authority and power and the way things get spun to be something they're not. I just find it really disturbing, and I don't. I mean, right here, right now is probably the most honest I've ever been about it.
hmm
But in terms of day to day and interaction at work and stuff, it's like uh, I don't know anyone who would understand that I the way I feel about it. That it should be more transparent. Like we should be more honest about what all of these rituals derive from, and would you really be celebrating abuse of children and sacrifices to Satan? It just is that really something to celebrate? But yet it's all been smoothed over, like this is what you do and worship, and I don't know. I just think there's so much that needs to come out to be more honest about our history and uh, really what we choose to celebrate and when.
Well, I know that throughout the years, it's always been altered to the centuries, their liking, or to like the time of what's culturally acceptable, or things like that.
Like I
Um,
read this thing about symbolism, and the Christmas tree is a phallic symbol, right? And so I now, whenever I see a Christmas tree, I can't get that story out of my head, and just the deviance of how children have been abused or trafficked, um, under the cloak of, the Catholic Church. And it's just really disturbing to me that we just we just live our lives day to day and just overlook all these imperfections of our uh, past. And I don't know, it just seems like somewhere there needs to be a big, you know
Well, I
making
think
it right.
it's slowly coming out because now more and more of these like trafficked children victims that are now adults are coming out, um,
Yeah.
and they're disclosing like how these elite people are like talking about like what they've been doing, and they've been kind of like secret agents almost, and getting intel for those people for whatever reason. And it just seems like there is like that group where they're just into like very um, disturbing practices, like sexual practices, even. And maybe they think that they can get away with it, or maybe it's like a power trip, that they have. But I think that there's a lot of like reasons. It's very disturbing, to be honest.
It
But yeah.
is. And I wanted to, I was watching some guy talking about there would be a time when we will have tribunal TV, and all
Hmm.
of these tribunals of the rich, powerful people that have been running these scams on us, will be tried, and we'll be able to watch it. And it's like every day I go down the road, it's like, I want tribunal TV. What I want, I want the truth to come out. I want people to, I want the people that have been breaking the laws and doing these horrible things to be accountable, and, you know, to see karma come home and roost on them. And I want people that have had blindfolds on, that have have chosen to turn and ignore all of it, to wake up and, you know, let's be real,
Mm.
just getting real. That's it's I don't know. I guess it's just a time thing. But yeah, that's my true confession. I'll try not to be a Scrooge humbug, but I really am not feeling the whole like,
Christmas spirit.
yeah.
I feel you on
Now I
that.
can get into New Year's. I love seeing another year tick over to be new, and you know, the sooner we get to the new year, the sooner we get to spring and warm weather.
Mhm, mhm. I mean, it's gonna be, like, scorching hot for me at that point, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. But yeah, okay, well,
But anyway,
um, yeah, it's fine, it's good
that
to,
was
like, vent and
yes, and
speak.
that was that.
Yeah, and that was that, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I
I
look
have
forward to hearing about your big trip and telling us all about it. And
yeah, like, he told me, he says, "There's nothing there, it's just cows and windmills." I was like, "Okay." He made it sound like it's so uninteresting and how nothing compared to America. And I'm like, well, that's for me to decide. I've never experienced that. So it's going to be like new for me.
might
And
be pretty refreshing, actually.
yeah, like even like in Norway, like things are so like old. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right,
not advanced. They're still kind of like behind the tech, like whatever. It's like,
refreshing.
yeah. So, yeah, I guess I'll experience it all for myself. So,
Yeah, and
but I need to slow down anyways, because
right.
I need a brain break.
Right.
So, but
Well, I appreciate everyone's time tonight, and
yeah. Mhm.
I will be in touch with you in a few days before you go, and
Mhm.
then we'll reconvene for New Year's outlook for January 10th.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll look forward to that.
All right then. Well, I'll see you later. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for being on here with us, and Happy New Year.
New Year. See you later.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next year. All right. Bye.